Welcome back to the show. It has long been said that dance is an expression of youth and vitality. Here with me now to talk about preventing Alzheimer's and dementia through ballroom dance is Evan Mountain, owner of Fred Astaire Dance Studio. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So let's talk about dementia and Alzheimer's and how can this be prevented with dance?
All right, well, most people think of dance as just a physical activity, but they don't realize that you are using your brain constantly when you're dancing. If you're a male leading, you have to be listening to the music, moving your partner around. What steps am I going to do? How am I going to prevent myself from crashing into somebody else? So your brain is constantly moving. And that's one of the things that with dance that's so important. I mean, yes, it's physical, and you are helping your low cardiovascular, you're working on your balance and flexibility, but it's the mental side of it that really makes the difference on preventing Alzheimer's or dementia.
And as we were talking a little bit before we came on camera about some local charity events where they do Dancing with the Stars events, and I actually performed in one before, and I can say that you know, it's one of the most challenging things I've done, but very rewarding as well.
Absolutely.
And I do feel that physically and mentally that it really helped out with actually a lot of other things.
Well, you know, and they also talk about with preventing Alzheimer's and dementia is the importance of socialization and emotions. That will help. And when you're dancing with somebody in a partner in ballroom dancing, you're obviously socializing and connecting emotionally with them. So those are also very important segments on how to help prevent Alzheimer's and dementia.
And we talked about different types of dancing as well a little bit. Is there any specific type that you think works better, or is it all just, anything helps?
Well, I think a variety of dances. There isn't a specific dance. Let's say swing or tango is not specifically better than the other. It's the combination of learning different dances. It's keeping your mind busy, okay? It's the old adage, use it or lose it. And so if you're not using your mind, if you're not using your physical muscles, you will start to lose that. And that's the important part with Alzheimer's, or to prevent it. There's no way of reversing it that I know of. I mean, I'm not a doctor, but what you need to do is start 10, 15, 20 years ahead and start building this up and keeping your brain active.
And I also wanted to touch on your story a little bit as well, because I think you have a unique background of being a football player and maybe not being super into dance at a younger age, but now because of your wife, this is how the Fred Astaire Dance Studio kind of came about, right?
Exactly, yeah, through my wife. She was a ballroom dancer from the Soviet Union, and I'd always been a businessman, but enjoyed music, enjoyed dance, was an athlete, still consider myself an athlete, but dance keeps you active, and it's something that you can do connecting with somebody for a long time period. And my wife and I can dance the rest of our lives together, so.
So that's something, our last segment was actually about divorce, but this is something that could probably help a relationship as well.
It can, and it's one of those things that you do need to find a connection with somebody. And when you're dancing, somebody has to lead and somebody has to follow, and you find that way of working together. So
how often would you recommend to prevent memory loss and some of these diseases that we're speaking of? How often should we be dancing and learning new dances?
Well, we have seniors that come to our studio. We have a senior dance program once a week, and they'll come and dance at our studio. But I know they're out at other events around town, on the weekends dancing. So the more you do something, the better it is for your brain. The more active you keep it going, the better you'll be able to retain what you have. So
what other benefits do you think this provides? We talked about physical activity mentally. You talked about memory loss. What other things should we be thinking about?
Well, as people age, I mean, it was talked in some of your other segments just earlier, is that it's important to keep your flexibility, to keep your balance. As you age, people start to lose their balance. Dancing will help you keep those muscles that will help through the rest of your life. But again, the more you do it, now whatever type of physical activity will help. Dancing tends to be the best activity. Where there's studies that are out that it says in order to help prevent Alzheimer's, reading will help you 40% better, okay, to prevent it. Dancing, from the studies they found, is 70%. And it's a surprising statistic that most people don't realize, because you are using your brain. people look at dancing as just a physical activity. You know from your experience that you had to memorize these dance routines when you were performing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a lot going on there.
And so is there a certain age, say for someone who's getting older, and maybe they've never done it before, is there a certain age that, or a limit of where you could start doing it to prevent Alzheimer's?
Well, what I've learned, or what I've seen when we've worked with the Alzheimer's Association, is that Alzheimer's is a very long-term process. The signs don't show up. It could start 20 years before it really is detected. So it's one of those things you have to start. You can't suddenly go in and have a diagnosis of Alzheimer's and then expect to reverse it. You have to start way ahead of time, 10 years, 15, 20 years ahead of time. Particularly if you have a family member of such, they say that Alzheimer's tends to be hereditary. And so if you have a family member, it's one of those things that you should be aware of and keep yourself busy early.
So it's one of these things we should get started pretty much right now, and then we should be all set. So thank you so much for coming on and for the information.
It's my pleasure.
And to learn more about ballroom dancing or to sign up for a class, please visit fredastaire.com.